Tara. So, hope you're doing well. I know it's a little bit crazy being at near the end of the semester, but I just want to take a few minutes of your time to kind of go over a few bits of reflection that I have on your teaching presentation. I like to do videos often when I talk about reflection instead of just written reflection. I think it's a little bit more interactive and personable. So to begin, love the presentation, love the topic. You did it, I think it went smoothly overall. Your presentation was neat and simple, and so it was very easy to follow, easy to take notes from, and so on and so forth. Another thing that I really loved about the presentation is the involvement of an activity near the beginning of the presentation. So you obviously had everyone play Kahoot, which not only helped them review what they may already know, but I could see how the students kind of perked up. Their energy levels were up when they realized that they were going to go through an activity at the beginning of the presentation. I think it kind of creates more interaction and more willingness to be involved within the lecture or presentation when you get them involved immediately versus later on at the end, of a long presentation that they may or may not be interested in the first place. So, yes, love the involvement of Kahoot at the beginning. Another thing that I appreciated was towards the middle of the presentation, you talked about NATA position statements. And that is a great way to point students to other resources without taking away from your presentation as well. And so very good job on that. A couple things that I think could be suggested improvements is, at the beginning of the presentation, you just kind of went right into it. And it's always a little bit helpful to have a couple of objectives of your lecture / presentation, whatever you want to call it. Kind of review, okay, this is what we're going to go over. This is what you guys can expect. So not that that's necessary, but it gives the students, the audience, the listeners, kind of a little agenda so they know what to expect. They also may be incorporating a timeline or a time limit on the presentation may also be helpful. So that's just a little side note. Still, that's kind of, I think, a personal preference at this point. And so another suggestion is during your Kahoot game, I think it would be really helpful if you asked why to the correct answers. So not only are they, getting the answers right or wrong, but you give them a chance to discuss the correct answer. You were teaching to an audience that was educated, that already knew and had some sort of experience with psychological concerns, the topic that you were teaching about. And so therefore, maybe they already understand the correct answers. And so maybe asking their opinions or the reasoning behind the correct answer chosen gives you not only a way to have further conversations, but to kind of assess where they're at when it comes to understanding psychological concerns. How much do they really know about this? A lot of them picked the correct answer multiple times, so they clearly knew the correct answer, and so I think that it's a way to kind of get them to talk before you discuss the correct answer and then move on to the next question. My last suggestion is, I already mentioned that the students mentioned that they had a little bit of experience at the beginning, whether personal or with education in the past or with work. And so you should use that. So when you were talking about triggers, the list of triggers or behavioral or behaviors to be concerned about, and then you led that into communication strategies, learning how to make plans, so on and so forth. Since they have already mentioned that they've had experience, this is also another route to interact with the students. Ask them to list some triggers or behaviors before you bring the list up. Ask them how they would go about making a plan for these sort of situations that they need to watch out for. They may already know this, and therefore you can take whatever information they give you, and then you can use your slides and build on to what they've already said. And so that's just a suggestion, knowing that the audience that you had was already a very educated audience that already had a little bit of experience within this realm, within this topic. So utilizing their knowledge also makes them feel even more involved than what they already were with your presentation. But overall, I think you did a great job getting your points across. I think you did a great job teaching. In general, you're very calm. You knew what you were talking about. And I think your students really enjoyed the interaction that they got to have with you. So, I hope this reflection was helpful. If you need any more written reflection, if you want me to write down these points in some way for you, I can always do that. All right, have a good day, Tara.